Welcome to Davie County's Voice, a podcast produced by the Davie Community Foundation, where we sit down with leaders, neighbors, and community members who are shaping the future of Davie County and working every day to make our community stronger. Welcome back to Davie County's Voice. I'm here with Melissa O'Connor, our Senior Programs Officer, and I'm Wesley Sharpe, President and CEO of the Davie Community Foundation. And what are we going to talk about today, Melissa?
We're going to talk about scholarships.
Everybody likes scholarships. Okay, let's start out. Can you kind of explain to me, what is the scholarship program and why is it important to our community?
Okay. Our scholarship program is really one of the most meaningful ways that we live out our mission. We get to invest in students at a pivotal time in their lives by matching donor generosity directly to opportunity. So it's really a way to invest in our future.
So if somebody is like, hey, I'm at school, I'm a high school student, and I'm trying to find, how do they even find out what kind of scholarships are available?
That's a great question. So we offer a wide variety of scholarships, which really is a strength of our program. So most of them are available to high school seniors. We have some that are available to college students, graduate students as well.
So again, a college student can apply?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's a little different than some community foundations that I know of.
Yes, okay. Absolutely. And it's great because there are not a lot of opportunities available to college students. I mean, high school seniors, yes. But so back to your how do they find out? I mean, the main thing is go to the website to apply, and we have a matching scholarship application. So they fill out one application, and they're eligible for
one application, not 5, not 20 that I might be in, just one.
Absolutely.
Single.
They may be eligible for several scholarships, and our application will match them with the opportunities that are available by basically answering questions and matching the criteria. We have scholarships that focused on academic achievement. Some are financial need. It might be an area of study, maybe something meaningful that the donor is passionate about. So it could be arts, athletics, a career focus. And so it'll match them with whatever, again, they're eligible for. And based on that, they may ask, answer additional questions. But again, it really is a strength that we have donors that have invested for all sorts of different scholarship opportunities.
And you kind of may have touched on this, but you may be going a little bit deeper on it is, explain to me, the differences in our scholarships and how they may vary. Maybe that's of interest, or as well as how does it determine how much an individual might get? How is all that kind of done?
So our scholarships range in, our 2-year students, maybe a $500 one-time award, the 4-year students a $1,000 award, all the way up to tuition and fees for 4 years renewable.
Wow.
We have several renewable scholarships that range from, $3,000 a year to $10,000 a year.
And that can really make a difference in a kid's life and a family's life.
It is
able
really
to budget that and have that to know, wow, I'm going to be able to go to school for, and not have this type of additional debt coming out. So
absolutely. I mean, for some students, it definitely eases financial burden, but for some students, it makes the difference whether they're able to attend college or not.
I truly imagine that happens more than we even know. Mm-hmm. But I know that you're in contact with a lot of those students, working with the school counselors and them emailing you, asking questions, that I imagine you hear a lot of stories about that. So what kind of impact are you seeing through the scholarships having on their student lives?
I see both immediate impact and long-term impact. Immediately, again, to ease that financial burden for students and their families. But also, I think just knowing that, someone in their community believes in them and invested in them to go to attend school. And then that long-term impact of, they're able to finish college. They're able to go on into a career. And that's very impactful.
Wow. What would you say, maybe, what are some of the most unique scholarships that we might have or that we're able to offer?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess, the renewable scholarships, again, are pretty unique, and not a lot of opportunities for renewable 4 years. I would say maybe not unique, but something that I'm seeing more and more of is our donors are following students. So they're awarded a high school senior a scholarship,
Yeah.
and they go on and they're applying again through our application, but they're then getting selected again. And this year we actually have a student that was selected for a graduate scholarship that
Wow.
was followed high school to college too.
So those donors are really wanting not only to give that initial scholarship, but are really wanting to make sure they're succeeding.
Yes.
And I think that's that's one of those keys, being able to make it all the way through into a career. So, I know of one I want you to kind of give a little bit short version of is I found really interesting when I got here was the Springer Scholarship.
Okay.
That one to me, I was like, okay, say that one more time to me. How do they get that? So kind of talk about that one a minute.
So the Diana Springer Scholarship, it is that probably would be the most unique we have. But it was a gift from David Springer in memory of his wife, and that's the scholarship for Chapel Hill that covers tuition and fees for students that are accepted early to Chapel Hill, but it's luck of the draw that are eligible for that scholarship. And it truly is a luck of the draw scholarship. They used to want it to be awarded to the first student accepted early to Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
But now with electronic
systems are so much different.
They are. And so and the great thing about, our county is we've had several students accepted early. You saw this year, I think there were 16 students
16,
at the
18,
drawing.
something like that.
And so we bring them all together and we invite their families, and they literally, luck of the draw, they all write their names down, put it in a bowl, and we draw them in front of them. And those whose names are selected are tuition and fees for 4 years.
Another interesting thing I've learned about that scholarship is a lot of people think, especially to like a university like that those scholarships are from alumnus. Neither one of them attended Chapel Hill.
Right. They were just passionate about education. They didn't have children of their own, but wanted to help educate the students in Davie, and believed in. So investing in students they never met.
For me, it's just like that sets for me a great tone about this community, that we just want to give. We just want to make a difference. We just want to be a part of supporting education, supporting our students. And this one is, they just believe that they really liked, from the stories I've heard about, some of the goals of Chapel Hill and some of the just how stories, I would say, and some of the people that they knew that had attended that university. But again, it didn't matter. I mean, it was just something they chose, and that could be for any donor, that I would like for it to go to a student going to this college, or just in general in our general scholarship. Can you kind of talk about maybe some differentiations between some of the categories? I know you kind of mentioned that, but what's one of the most unique or diverse groups? I know you mentioned athletics and music. What are some of those things you wouldn't think about to go, oh, there's a scholarship for that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we have a couple for band members.
Okay.
And we have some that are faith-based.
Oh, churches can get involved. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Absolutely. We have, a couple of engineering scholarships. So we have those that are the career focus. And again, we also have our healthcare and graduate scholarships, and those opportunities are not, as available as the high school seniors, but, and not just college students, but going on. And we have several healthcare, which that is neat. That a lot of those have either have loved ones, and they're wanting to honor loved ones, or they themselves have gone through.
I've been involved with the medical field.
Mm-hmm.
So can you kind of walk me through what happens after a student? The student sits down, completes that one single application, which I really like. Having kids, that's even better. What's that process? How does that look? And then how does that recipient know that they've been selected?
Okay. So again, the one application, and then Once they complete that and the deadline passes, we verify all the information, the financial information, the transcript. Once that's all verified, it goes to the committees that for all the scholarships they're eligible for. And those committees, review the applications, get their decisions back. We always have them select alternates because plans can change.
Yep.
And so then once they're approved, all of the students are notified at the same time of what awards they received. And we have new scholarship software, which has been great because in the past it was an email that was, here's your award information, but now they can actually log into the portal and see all of their award information right there and complete their scholarship, agreement.
And I think also, even somewhat in that process, I think you had shown me this, and a question I had one day is they can actually, after they put their information in, even before they're selected, they can kind of see what they're even eligible. So they might be eligible for 2 of these scholarships. They might be eligible for 15 different scholarships.
That is correct.
So it doesn't mean they're going to get all of them.
Correct.
But that student isn't going, well, they've got, how many scholarships do we have?
We have 102.
102 different scholarships. And am I correct that some of those scholarships are not just that they offer multiple? So there may be this scholarship has 2 people that they're getting, a scholarship from.
Correct.
There's
yes.
multiples. So,
yes,
okay.
some of them. Mm-hmm.
So that student can go in and go, wow, I'm now eligible for this amount. And then so tell me about how that committee works. What do they have to do or they're doing, I should say, when they're going through and looking at these applicants? Kind of walk me through that process too.
Sure. They are reviewing the applicants. They get their essay and questions to the essays. They've obviously been matched, so they're eligible. So the committees know that, and they're reviewing those. And sometimes I send 2 or 3 applications, and sometimes I send 50 applications to the committees, and they're reviewing those. And they have their own method for scoring and selecting those recipients.
I got the privilege this year again to meet one of the committees, and they were talking about, I have the green highlighter on this one, the yellow highlighter this, and here's my sheet of the 52 different questions we're going to talk about as a committee, and they really get into this.
Absolutely.
And to see their passion and so I say afterwards, they were coming out like, oh, this was really good. And this is, we got to talk about this, and this student's going to get, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, this is what it's all about. Not just, those donors getting engaged and then the students being eligible and then volunteers coming in and putting their time in, and that whole circle, it just, and it continues to go. So it's not a linear, it continues to move forward. So, how do donors and community members play a role making these applications possible?
So, the donors are really why we're able to offer the scholarships in the first place. Community members, as you mentioned, volunteering. I think just sharing the opportunities, letting kids know that scholarships are available, when the application is available, because the more students we reach, the more we can impact and continue to grow and support more students.
I know we're going to do another podcast on this a little bit later on, but just kind of want to touch on it. If a donor comes in, because you mentioned donors on the front end, to go, how easy is it for someone to set up a scholarship?
That's another great question. It really, to me, it's from the feedback that I've gotten from donors. It's very easy, and we try to work with all of our donors to basically meet them where they're at. And again, the wide variety of focus areas. They get to pick that criteria, and it's something that's meaningful to them. And the award amount, we like the fund to be $25,000 before awards are made, but we also work with donors to get to that. Yeah,
because they may have a plan to get there or how we're getting there. So
right.
And the reason I ask that is I look at the way that you mentioned the new software, all of the things that are in place, making it very simple and easy for donors, making it as easy as possible for students to get it. And I know you work alongside of the guidance counselors in the school system regularly.
Yes, they're
some of them
wonderful asset.
Right. And I would say, if I'm not mistaken, some of them up to the last minute where, like you mentioned, things are changing, or this student now has this type of need because of this, or this need has changed from this side to this side. So, that's a great thing that the Community Foundation has is that relationship with this school system and our communication.
Absolutely.
And that's something that has developed over time. I imagine didn't happen on day one, but knowing this community, I imagine everybody still jumped in right away.
I believe so, yes.
One of the other areas of scholarships that the foundation helps with is the Ignite Davie piece, because that's the scholarship to the Davie Community College. Kind of talk about briefly what that is and how that also is available for students.
Yeah, so depending on how long they've lived and gone to school in Davie County, it can be 100% funding for community college.
That's amazing.
It is huge.
But who's eligible for that? Any
student.
Say that one more time.
Any student. There is no criteria as far as financial need, academics.
We'll be doing another podcast on that later on as well, getting a lot more deeper in that. But again, that's just that's for those students to be able to go to school on a scholarship to attend the Davie College. And it may be to get a certification for a trade or to get some general ed done and then transfer to a 4-year college, correct?
Yes.
So it definitely helps in all different ways. So that, for me, again, it's that the foundation does a whole lot when it comes to scholarships.
Yes.
In all different areas. So.
Yes. I mean, so far this year, we've awarded $420,000. And we still have $420,000 to 182 students.
Wow.
And we still have graduate healthcare and then the fall of Ignite Davie.
So I would assume very easily that we will surpass 200 pretty quick with those coming in too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've kind of talked about what kind of the process that it's gone through, some of the things that we've currently doing. Looking ahead, what excites you?
I think the growth of our scholarship program is exciting. I've already seen a lot of growth and continue to. The donors coming in and setting up scholarships. The donors again, not just investing in the high school seniors, but investing in college students and beyond. That's exciting. So I think just the future of our county and the support that has already been there and continues to grow, it's impressive, and it's exciting to think of all the students that we can reach.
It is. I mean, I always say this community's the way it wraps around its arms around each other, and education has been one of those things that this community has always felt is important. Mm-hmm. Showing that from how well our elementary schools are, our Smart Start programs are, our middle schools, and our lovely high school, and they all working hand in hand. So, okay, for listeners and viewers who want to support the program, what are some of the ways they can get involved or contribute?
Okay, so community members, individuals, families, organizations, they can establish a scholarship. They can add to an existing scholarship fund. We have several that add to our community scholarship that is awarded each year to high school and college students. Again, we talked earlier about the committees, volunteering to serve on a scholarship committee, and you really get to see how bright the future looks. We have students that are doing amazing things. I'm always impressed with the applications. And again, sharing that we have the opportunities available, because I probably said that before, but just sharing that the application is out there helps parents know what's going on, helps grandparents know, hey, I got to make sure my daughter, grandson applies for that. Hey, second name. Mm-hmm. One of the things hit me when we were talking, I think it's also a unique thing that some of our scholarships. Talk about some of the classes that have scholarships. Yes, we have several Davie High classes that have established scholarships. And our most recent is the class of 1988.
Okay.
And that was established by a donor who he himself was awarded a scholarship. and got his class rallied around and are awarding scholarships. And they've been awarding them for a couple of years, but this is the first time they're doing a full scholarship. But we have several classes. I think the first class was the class of 1950. No.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
So
I don't want to say. I think it might have been the class of 1959, and I know there'll be forgiveness if that's not correct.
We'll have a lot of emails if it's wrong, which is okay too.
It is.
That means people are watching.
But knowing that variety, the broad range, and and those alumni that are contributing.
And again, it's just like you said, it's just a different way that instead of well, my family's got a scholarship, great. That it's amazing. Hey, this organization's got helping to a scholarship, but a class of all these students that were a family at the high school coming together afterwards, and the one you mentioned, like there especially is that's that giving back piece.
Absolutely.
So I mean that's another full circle thing for me is that it's hey look that student knew and that somebody invested in them and said this is something I can do to help. And I want to get all my friends and to also be a part of this because that's one of the other things I've saw. And I got to meet a couple of those classes this year when they were doing their selection processes. They get excited.
Absolutely.
And they talk about the students and they talk about their, experience when they were in high school and how things are so different and this, that, and the other. But, it is that, they want to give back. And that I keep going, that's what Davie County's about.
It really
is. People just care about each other, and it's just makes you happy, right?
It really does. It really does, for sure.
Well, Melissa, thank you so very much for taking time to be with us today and share a little about the scholarships.
Absolutely.
I hope some people out there have learned some things. I sure have, listening to you, always trying to gain knowledge. So thank you again for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending time with us on Davie County's Voice. We hope today's conversation inspired you and helped you learn more about the people and ideas making Davie County stronger. Be sure to check back every second and fourth Thursday of the month for a new episode. And to learn more about the Davie Community Foundation, visit daviefoundation.org.